How's it going, everyone? It's Bomberman Dan with Clan Dino Gaming, and I'm doing a build tutorial video today. And this build is a PvZ build, and it is an 8-gate all-in. I play Protoss, so this is me playing, and I couldn't find any professional replays of this build. So I know Grubby does this build quite often, like or Gateway all-in, and so I just did it myself. And this is a low masters level game, so take that as you will. So if you're high masters, you know, you might see something wrong with this. If you're grandmaster, I don't know why you'd be watching this video. But yeah, this video is geared more towards players who aren't, too high up, silver, gold, platinum, players that can kind of do this build. So it's an 8-gate all-in, and you're going to start off doing a Forge Fast Expand. Any Forge Fast Expand will work. It doesn't really matter. Just get it down. Get your Nexus up quickly. I go Pylon, Forge, Nexus, so any kind of variation of that will work. So if you want to go Gateway, Nexus, Forge, something like that, I don't know, whatever you want. So let's talk about this build a little. This build is designed to quickly kill your opponent, and it kind of replaces the Immortal all-in from Wings of Liberty. And the reason it does that is because this build is very good against players that go quickly into mutas. So if they go Ling muta, it will basically kill them. It's good against players who go heavy Ling roach, and it's pretty good against players who go Ling hydra. Now if the player goes quick swarm host, this build can have trouble just because it does not have detection. So you have to watch out for that. In Heavy Roach, a very heavy Roach build will actually shut this down if you know, it's a bad map like Derelict Watcher where it's hard to get good force fields, or just in general if they can just pump out a lot of Roaches. Even though they won't be the most cost effective against your army, they will be able to pump out a lot if you don't kill their third base. So that's just something you have to watch for. So as you can see, I'm just Forge Fast Expanding again. That's all you really need to do is Forge Fast Expand, and then I'll kind of get into the intricacies of this build. So this build relies a lot on stealth. If it's scouted, you can have a lot of trouble with it because they can just throw down a lot of spines, or they can just go with what I said before, a heavy roach style build, and kind of spread the roaches out. As well as you see, I have a probe kind of just chilling, so I have a proxy pylon spot, and this is a good spot on the high ground. His overlord did pass by, but I'm not entirely sure if he was watching it or not. So that probe can build a pylon up on the high ground, and then later move into where the third would be, or drop a pylon down over here at would be like a 5th or 6th base. So what you need to do is you actually need to watch for a third base, and that's something I'm not sure if I do this game. If the Zerg player does not get a third base, this build is actually still really good because it relies on getting units fast. So if they're going to do a Roach bust or a Roach Ling bust or something along the lines, or a Ling Baneling bust, you'll actually be just fine because you'll have a lot of gateways, and you'll be able to hold that off pretty easily. Now my build does incorporate getting +1/+1. +1 attack or +1 weapons finishes before the push goes out, and then +1 armor hits when you're going along the way. So I send my probe out and I scout his third, and this is good. So I'm like, okay, I know he's not going to 2-base me, right? So I send the probe back, and I actually didn't build a pylon on the high ground. I'm going to send him back to this little location right up here so I can build a pylon. As you can see, I'm adding on gases in my main, and what I actually do is I take a single gas at my natural, and I don't get the other gas, because this amount of gases lets me get a lot of stalkers and a lot of sentries. But if I got another gas, right, that would actually give me too much gas, and it would start to make me make a lot of stalkers and sentries, and I actually want zealots. I want a lot of zealots. So you can see I'm actually getting a stalker out here, and what I like to do is get 2 stalkers out, right? And I like to put 1 stalker kind of on the high ground to ward off overlords, because I said this is a secret build, right? They can't know you're going for this build, or else it kind of nullifies the entire build. And then I like to make another stalker and put it, somewhere outside here. So I actually think I got my stalker kind of stuck outside in this case. I think this gap is a little too small, so I'll only have 1 stalker on the inside of my base. So as you can see, I have my probe sitting there, ready for a pylon, and I'm chrono boosting out +1, right? I don't want to put any chrono boost on my cybernetics core because I don't care about warp gate. I don't want warp gate to happen quickly because I'm waiting for all my gates to finish up. So as you can see, I'm adding on gates. I'm just adding on gates when I have enough money, right? So we do have an overlord in here. He's gonna spot 2 gates. That's fine. We don't want him to spot all of them. So as you can see, I kind of have them spaced out a little. I have 2 here. I have 2 there, and I'm actually waiting to throw down my other 2. So I'm like, okay, I'll throw down 2 over here because I know that's safe, right? So I'm, getting workers on my natural. I've got a gas geyser there, and I'm just chrono boosting out upgrades. So that's all I'm kind of doing is I just want 8 gates, and what you can also do is keep a zealot out front. And try to ward off any of the Zerglings, and try not to run by watchtowers while you're doing this build. Because if they do scout you going for this build, even if you're pushing out, that will give them enough time to make units, right? So he has a spore crawler. He knows something's kind of funny. He hasn't really gotten scouting information. So he's building spore crawlers, which is actually really good. He thinks I'm going for DTs, or I'm going for a hidden Stargate or something like that. And that's actually money that isn't being spent on drones, Zerglings, or roaches here. So that's good. So I'm pushing out here, right? I have 5 sentries. You don't really want anything more than 6 sentries for this build. And as you can see, I'm chrono boosting out my armor. And so he's going to scout my build, right? And he's going to look at what he has. And he's like, okay, he's got nothing really at his 3rd for units. Those Zerglings are the only units he has. He's going to throw double evolution chamber down. And as we can see, he only has a roach warren. And he's getting a macro hatch. So all I'm going to be up against is Zergling Roach. And as you can see, I'm going to add a pylon over here, a closer pylon. And I'm just going to warp in units. So what you want to kind of do is kind of balance out your composition. You don't want only zealots and sentries. You don't want only stalkers and sentries, right? Or stalker zealots. You want to have a combination. Because if I come up here, right, I haven't really scouted him at all. This is what this build is. It's an all-in. It's an attack. So I haven't scouted him at all. And that means he could have a lot of Zerglings and mutas. And the beauty about this build is I'm going to have a lot of opportunity to have stalkers. So I added some force fields, not the best force fields, but they'll do okay for now for keeping those roaches off my back. And I'll kill off a couple roaches here and kind of start focusing down the hatchery. And as I was saying before, if mutas come out here, I've got stalkers, and I have the opportunity to warp in a lot of stalkers. And that's kind of a big deal. So in Wings of Liberty, we saw that players were going for Roach Immortal, or sorry, Sentry Immortal all-in. I don't know why I said Roach. And that was really good against killing roaches, right? Because in Wings of Liberty, you couldn't really go straight to mutas, because mutas weren't that good. But now in Heart of the Swarm, Zerg players kind of can go straight to mutas. So if you do attack with this 8-gate all-in, you have an opportunity, as you can see here, to warp in a lot of stalkers, which can actually deal with a vast amount of mutas. And as you can see, I'm just force fielding around. I've got zealots. Force fields go down there to make sure that he can't kind of come in here. I kill off the spine crawlers, and I'm just kind of whittling away. A force field could go here, and that would be very, very good. That would prevent reinforcements from coming down. And as you can see, I'm just kind of whittling away. He went with a Roach Ling kind of attack, and as I said before, with some good force fields and some good zealots and stalker composition, I was able to defeat him there. So as you can see, it's a very, very easy build to do. As I said before, though, you do need a composition, right? These zealots were very crucial for killing lings off. These stalkers were very crucial for killing roaches, and these sentries were very useful for splitting the roaches. And they're all very intricate, so you can't lose all your sentries, you can't lose all your zealots, and you can't lose all your stalkers. And you have to make sure that, you can't say, oh, well, I don't want to make sentries, I'm just going to make a lot of stalkers to deal with the roaches. Well, you can't really do that, because if all of a sudden then you lose all of your stalkers and all your units, then you're kind of screwed, right? So going back to my base here, right, I have, kind of a fully saturated mineral line at my natural. I have 1 gas. I have +1/+1, and I was able to defeat the Zerg player. Now, if this push didn't work, right, so say all of a sudden he can push me back, but I retain all of these units. What I would do immediately is go back to my base. I would get this gas geyser right here. I would throw down 2 robotics facilities, right? So maybe like 2 up here, something like that, right? And then I would, come down here. I'd get maybe another cannon if he had a lot of roaches. And I'd throw down a couple sentries, and I would just kind of sit behind my wall and get ready for a counterattack, right? And if I hold the counterattack, Then I'll have, all the mortals that I can make. I'll have double robo, I can get Colossus out. And then I can start working on getting my third. Because if I've killed his third off already, and I'm just kind of holding 2 base to 2 base, I'm actually in a good position as long as I retain my army. If I lose my entire army, and he's got a lot of roaches, and it's 2 base versus 2 base, I could pretty much die. He could knock down my wall and kill me. So, as long as you retain your army and it's 2 base versus 2 base, I like to throw down double robo and get a Nexus. And if he is going Hydras, if he's not going Hydras, you could do double Stargate and go Void Rays. But what I like to do is go double Robo, get 2 Immortals out, and then immediately get 2 Colossus with Extended Thermal Lance, expand, and then go attack him. Because that attack, you could actually just kill him. You'll actually see what he's got going on, and you might be potentially able to just win the game right there. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions about this build, if you want to see additional replays or something like that, just send me a message, and I hope this was a very useful video, and I hope you can use this build in your ladder games to help bring you some wins.